the City of Eureka Springs. This is the Board of Zoning Adjustment special meeting. It is Tuesday, September 26th, 6 o'clock. We're in the auditorium. All right, so no public hearing, roll call time.
Ansel Lee.
Here.
Susan Holman.
Here.
Fergie Stewart.
Here.
I'm President Tom Buford. Peter Graham. And Joe Hill. Absent.
Yeah. All right, Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, approval of the agenda.
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, public comment.
Let me go get the sheet, sorry.
All right, we've got one public comment, so just state your name and your address, please.
Steph Gordon Glassford, 23 Hale Street. And, okay, first off, I wanted to thank you guys so much for what you're doing. We all see big changes, and with what you're working on, Ann, with the rentals and the tree ordinance that you guys worked on so hard, so thank you so much. So we saw on the agenda that, about a tree cut over here on 35 Benton, and that is on the agenda tonight. So we just went over to have it look. I've been in the landscaping business for 35 years. I know a little bit about trees myself. And this is what we're concerned about. So this isn't directed at you. This is more or less directed at the people who are kind of moving here and thinking they can just, cut down community trees. And we were looking at these trees, and they're wanting to put a deck in, but these trees, there's 2 oak trees and a pine, and they're kind of holding up the mountain and the hillside, acting as erosion control. They're perfectly healthy. I talked to Jacob about it, and he's like, yeah, they're healthy. He was like, I told him that's why they had to go in front of Boza. But the thing is, even if they put decking, they're way above the decking. We're like, why would you even cut these trees if they're way up here? And one's on a property line. So we're just kind of wondering why it would be even necessary. I know they have a building permit up to build this deck, but can't you just build a deck without cutting these trees that are far above, unless you're going to be building it out off of the roof? So just wanted to bring that up. We're really concerned about our urban forest around here. We really are. So, we're concerned that there are new people coming to town for the charm and then turning around and cutting it down. And so that's why we keep getting up here. So we do thank you for getting that ordinance in place. And so thank you. And that's just what we wanted to say. So.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, unfinished business. We don't have any, so let's just go into the new business, which is the tree cut removal permit at 35 Benton. The owner is Carol, and I have Penny Pemberton on the phone, who is here to represent the property for the owners. So, Penny, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, hold on. Okay, so I've got you on speaker. You're by the mic. So just before we get started, can you just give a brief description or a brief explanation of the purpose of the tree cut and what work is being done that would necessitate the trees coming down? If you could do that for me, please.
Yes. On the west side of the property, in the back, is a stone wall that's connected to their neighbor, and it is compromised. They wanted to take that down, rebuild that stone wall up higher and to the level of their metal deck to help keep dogs in the yard And if they do that, it could compromise those large trees' roots. And also those large trees would be the largest ones that would hit the house if anything would happen to them, even if they didn't do the stone wall.
Okay, so when you're facing the house, I went
Yeah.
up there and I took a look at it. When you're facing the house, it's the wall
Left.
that you see on the left-hand side.
Yes.
Okay, so that structure you're saying is compromised now?
Yes, from the street, you can see that stones have already fallen out right next to a significant boxwood on the property line. And if you go further behind the house, you can see on the corner, it's not a very tall wall, but it is going to bulge. It can't be built up on it. It has to be taken down and then built back higher.
Okay, so we've got 3 trees, and I know I read over some of the information that you put in the application, and you said it was a danger to the structure, which is the house, for those
Yes.
trees to be there. They're big trees. I mean, I understand what you're saying, but the deck. Can you explain what the deck will? I mean, what is going to be done with that wall as far as it's associated with that deck?
Oh, just a height. It's only in reference that they would like to build that stone wall up to the height of that metal deck. That's the only thing related to that deck. It's just a point of reference for the height of, if they get to rebuild this wall up, they would like to take it a little bit higher. There is another stone wall directly behind the house that is at the height of the deck, and this one is lower, and they just want to take it all up to the same height.
Okay.
Okay.
Do any of you have any questions for her?
Yes, this is Tom Buford. I looked at the trees. It looked like one of the oak trees near the house had the limbs did come near to the house, I guess where the deck would be. But it looks like the other 2 trees were way up the hill, and there were other trees around there, and it didn't look like that. You know, why pick those 2 trees out when the other trees are right around there that you didn't pick out? I mean, I didn't quite understand that.
When I had came and had Mike's tree service come and look at it, because I trust his opinion about the health of these trees and what he felt about it, he said the way that these trees are sitting on the hill, the trees that are to the east or the right side are less likely to hit the house. He says that the way their root systems are and the type of trees that they are, he said that these here would be the ones that would, if the bottom of the root ball was compromised, they would be a problem to the house. The one on the furthest west property line is very tall, and it would catch the house significantly, according to the advice from Mike's tree service.
Okay, go ahead.
So he's basically saying any tree within the footprint of a house that could fall on the house needs to be cut down.
No, sir. He's just saying that those 3 are the most significant around the house that cause the biggest danger, and especially if there's anything happening or undermining the root ball, sir. The rest of them are significant. There's even a bigger one, but the way that it is, it wouldn't hit the house like these 3.
Okay, does anybody else have? Okay, hold on,
Go ahead,
Fergie.
go ahead.
Let me bring this over there real quick.
Hey, Penny, this is Ann Salee. Hi. So if this is approved tonight, you would be removing the trees from the property.
Correct.
Okay, that was my question. Thank you.
The entire tree. It would not just lay.
Okay, that was my question. Thank you.
Okay. Go on.
Okay, hold on. Fergie, do you have a question?
Yeah. So you talked about Mike's tree service, which I respect a lot in town. He said these trees, or at least all had root ball compromises, I guess, and usually that means that they're raised up off of the soil. And is that the condition of these trees?
No, sir. If we were allowed to do the work of the stone wall, we would compromise the root ball. At the moment, their root balls are fine. There is a great deal of erosion in that area if you got to look at it, but they are not damaged yet. So, but if we did raise the wall and backfilled it, then that would compromise their root balls.
Okay. So probably that wall will, my guess is, kind come into contact with their, what we call our drip line. And that's what he's probably talking about then. The drip line would be compromised, thus the root ball would be compromised after that. Is that about right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. What do you think? It's kind of a...
Okay, does anybody else have any other questions?
Well, the wall is already there. All we're doing is extending the wall up. So, I mean, it's already, if it's impacting the root ball now,
It's a shorter wall, sir, and it's damaged, so it's not going to last very much longer. There's actually some erosion already has pushed some stones out already. So it would be taking that stone wall down and lifting it and because you have to set it back, that's what would cause the damage, is repairing the wall and bringing it higher.
Okay, so I've got a question for you.
Yes, ma'am.
Did Jacob come out to the site and look at that wall?
Yes,
Okay, and I wish
and the trees.
Okay, I wish Jacob were here right now. So was his recommendation was to take that wall out and rebuild?
Because there is, if you can see it or go back to it, you can see the great erosion and the corner right on the property line between them and Catherine Seymour has already pushed out stones. And so it's just going to be a bigger problem later. And it was in the home inspection, and so I showed it to Jacob as well. And he's like, yes, it's not completely condemnable. The majority of it is, but where the stones are missing, that's where it will begin to fail and push out and fall into the yard.
Okay. Does anybody else have any other questions about the stone wall or trees or?
Oh, okay, that's better. Okay. Let's see. Okay, that's good.
Penny, how long will it take to rebuild that wall?
It will take, I'll say 2 weeks to be safe with the weather.
Okay.
2 weeks, yeah. Take it down, build a footer, put it back up, 2 weeks. Just because he can't get in there with a piece of equipment, he has to do it all, lug all the rocks in there.
And then if they were to take the trees down, how are they taking those trees down? I mean, it's steep.
It is steep. They have already quoted it, and it would involve a crane and climbing.
Okay. Does anyone have any other questions for Penny while we've got her on the phone? No? Okay. So at this point, basically, we need to vote to grant this tree cut removal permit. So if I can get a motion and a second so that we can vote.
Sure. I'd like to make a motion that we approve the application for tree permit, removal permit of Ray Perry Pemberton for the address of 35 Benton Street.
Anyone want a second?
I'll second that.
All right, so we've got a motion from Fergie and a second from Ann to go ahead and vote. I'm going to go ahead and just do it by voice. I mean, Fergie,
Yes.
Tom,
no.
Ann,
Yes.
and I'll be a yes. Problem is,
I know, we only have 4 commissioners.
we've got 3-1. So we need we need 4 to approve, Penny.
Okay.
So in this case,
Can I make another motion?
hold on just one second. So that motion did not pass. So Tom, you have another motion?
Yes, I would like to make a motion that we do not approve the 2 trees further up the hill, but do approve cutting the tree that the limbs are over closest to the property line, or closest to the house rather, that overlap the stone wall, which I believe is an oak tree.
So you're saying the tree to the,
Further up the hill, leave them, the tree closest to the house that has, I think it has limbs that actually almost touch the house.
okay,
It's
can
an
you,
oak-
Two directly by the house and then one up the hill.
yeah,
Which
can you
one-
show us on the map which
Which
one you're
one are you
talking about?
talking about, Tom?
So there's this one up the hill, the furthest one, and then the 2 that are the closest to the, so are you saying leave that one and cut these 2?
No, I'm saying leave the 2 up the hill, but cut the one that has the limbs that almost reach the deck. Or the-
Yeah, I think that's backwards. There's 2 very close to each other in the middle of the property, sir, and then there's one far to the west, way up to the property line. So the 2 that are in the middle
these are
are
the
the closest to the house. So there's 2 close and 1 far away.
Right.
Well, the one I'm talking about is an oak tree that has the limbs that almost reach the house, the
Right.
deck.
There's 2 trees there in the map that are being requested. They're right next to each other. One's a white oak, one's a black oak.
Okay, so do you want to keep your motion the same? Meaning, we're going to cut the limbs, you're saying you're going to cut the limbs from one of these trees?
I'll agree to cut the tree that has the limbs that almost reach the deck.
Okay, so one of the 2 that are closest to the house and
Leave
leave
it.
the other one
Leave
up the
the
hill?
other- leave the other
So
2.
one of the 3,
One of the 3.
but one of the
Instead
2?
of 2 of the 3.
Yes, okay, all right, so the motion is that we would cut one of the trees closest to the house, which would end up being a 1 tree cut instead of a 2 tree cut. So does anyone want to second
I
that?
second that.
Okay, so we've got a motion and we've got a second. Fergie,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Ann,
Yes.
So is it open for discussion now?
no, we're voting.
Okay.
Guys, I just don't feel comfortable with leaving both of those there. I'm going to vote no. So I just feel that's too close to the house.
You know, in looking at the picture, I think these trees are gone. You're not even going to know that these trees are gone because of what is still there. I mean, I know we're a tree city and I'm all for trees, but they have a life expectancy just as we do. And I think there comes a point that we have to, there's no reason to ask them to plant any more trees.
I think my concern is that if they take that wall down
It's
and
going to damage it anyway.
it's going to damage those trees, and if it falls on the house, I mean, I agree with the one up the hill. I think that probably is okay. But I just feel like those 2 that are close, I mean, they're close, and if they come down, and the slant is that way.
I'm well aware of when
Yeah.
trees fall in houses.
Yes, and we had one this year too, this
Yeah,
winter. So,
it's
I mean, it shakes the whole house. So, anyway, okay, so we have no vote. So if somebody would like to make another motion, we could do that, or we could leave the vote as it is. So it'd have to be a completely different motion. We cannot vote on the same thing.
Tom, what do you think about taking them both out?
Well, I mean, if the criteria now is going to be every time somebody comes in and says the tree that could fall on my house because it's, you know, the tree's 30 feet tall, and if it falls, it's going to hit my house, I mean, that'll take care of a lot of trees in Eureka Springs. And-
Well, but they're talking about coming and doing work that probably is going to damage the trees.
Well, if the stone wall is there now, and the tree's not dead because the stone wall's been there for ever how many years it's been, raising the stone wall up or taking it down and raising it up shouldn't impact the root ball any more than it already
Susan,
has.
did I lose you? Susan?
Yeah, we're just talking, so
Oh,
hold
sorry,
on.
sorry. No problem, no problem.
And the one of them's a pine tree, and it doesn't have the same kind of root ball the oak tree has.
Can I make a motion? I guess I can.
Yeah,
right?
you
'Cause
can
I
make a
can-
motion.
I make a motion that we cut the 2 trees closest to the house and we leave the one up the hill.
I second that.
All right, so we've got a motion and we've got a second to cut the 2 trees closest to the house and leave the one up the hill. So we're going to go ahead and do a voice. Fergie,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Ann,
Yes.
and I'm a yes.
Okay.
So 4-0, we're going to cut the 2 trees closest to the house and we're going to leave the one up the hill. So let's see. Tom, we just need to sign. We can do that when we get done. So that is the end of our meeting.
Motion to adjourn?
Can I get a second?
Say.
All right, so motion to adjourn, a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And I'm an aye too, sorry.